appreciate everybody being here. Big win. Proud of the guys. Tough opponent. And on to the next game. So we're 4-5. Have an opportunity to get back to 500. But we've got to win a game to do it in a tough environment against a tough opponent that we know each other very well. So what questions do you have?
John, we've obviously seen the results over the past 4 games as far as the defense and how things have turned around there. With Zach, what have you seen as far as maybe adjustments of the scheme-wise? What things have you seen as far as what he's done to help improve the defense?
The biggest thing I've seen probably from Zach and all the coaches and the players has been just steadiness. You know, I haven't seen a lot of changes. I've seen steady commitment and consistency of approach, hard work. You identify issues and things that need to improve, and you try to work at them and have good drills and good meetings and good teaching sessions. And players, really, I think as much as anything, it's just a two-way street. It's a collaboration. It's a partnership in the National Football League. Coaches, players, coaches, players. That team thing is what really matters, and that's really what guys have been doing. So. The results have been good, but we have a big challenge and a bunch of big challenges in front of us.
John, after reviewing the tape, what did you see and what did you like from Draymond Jones making his Raiders debut?
Yeah, boy, Draymond, he did well. He got all his assignments right and had all the terms right, and was versatile along the line. I think we talked about that possibility during the week. It was a factor, physicality, quickness, knows how to play the game. He added a good flavor to it.
John, Keandre Jackson has had an impact. The 5 games he's played, and obviously a big one yesterday. What have you seen from him, just along this way that made you guys okay? He's the guy, and we kind of believe in him to have an impact.
You mean leading up to the last few weeks? Well, you watch practice. You're out there every day, and you see how guys perform in practice. And he was bringing it. He was showing us a lot of progress, a lot of development and improvement and all those things. And, he's got some unique skills. He's a big, rangy, fast, explosive athlete who's certainly not afraid to throw it in there and mix it up, which he does at a high level. So, those are, and I think he's a football player, and he proves that. Infectious personality, high energy, and to see it show up on the field the way it has is a great thing to see. And we're, he's building a resume, but, now the standard keeps going up for him, and he's raising the bar for himself, which is awesome.
John, we've seen Malachi now be able to start racking up a couple of these interceptions over the last 2 weeks. What's changing for him? Is it just a matter of him getting more comfortable now to try to make these plays, or these ones that were there before? Have you noticed just him looking more comfortable that's leading to these turnovers? Yeah,
I do. I think he's starting to get a sense back there. It's such a processing the game inside the game when you're a player is so much about just feel, and you call it feel, call it what you want, but that all the awareness of being able to calculate all the different crazy things that can happen inside of a play at the level of the NFL. I mean, I think you can only understand that if you've played in the NFL, which I haven't. To know how fast it is on the inside of a play in the National Football League. And you can see him starting to click for him, and he's reacting just a little bit faster, and he's conscientious. He always wants to do things right, so it's coming together.
John, in your experiences at the safety position, you coached secondary at one point. Is there a little more of a learning curve there just because of how much space they have to cover? I mean, not just all the processing you mentioned, but it's just a lot of territory.
Yeah, just for experience as a coach and even experience as a player at this much smaller level, it's tougher to play inside than it is outside from a processing standpoint. When you're outside, whether it's a corner or an outside backer, it's just a little bit. You see the game this way, and it makes it's a little simpler to process. When you're in here, you see the game this way. And there's more going on that you have to have a sense for.
There was a report that Rashad Bateman left in a boot. And do you have an update on him? As you watch it again, did you think that was a hip drop tackle on him down in the goal line?
What is a hip drop tackle? It's an enigma apparently that can't be called during the game. It looked like a hip drop tackle. I think so. Yeah, based on the definition. Am I going to get in trouble for saying that? I hope not.
Do you have an update on Rashad?
I think he's going to be okay. Yeah, he's got an ankle sprain. We'll see how serious it is going forward.
So do you not expect him to miss time, or is that still TBD?
Excuse me?
Do you not expect him to miss time, or is that still TBD?
So we'll see where we're at. Yeah, we'll probably know more on Wednesday. You know.
John, we also saw Jay Higgins walk out with a brace. Is that a significant knee injury?
That is not a season ender, but it's going to be a few weeks for Jay.
John, we've seen the change of pace with Keaton Mitchell work really well over the last few weeks. Do you sort of like the level at which you're using that right now, or is that something that we could maybe see even more in certain games? Or
Yeah, I think more. Yeah, more. We should, and we were kind of intentional. We wanted to do more, you know, just for whatever reason, we didn't get to it, but definitely want to see more Keaton. And, you know, I think more you can mix it up. It's hard to take, I mean, you know, it's hard to take plays off Derrick Henry's plate. You know, that's a challenge. You gotta, I think anybody can understand that, but mixing it up is also a good thing too, you know, and I think all the guys understand the value of that too, so we're going to try to find that. It's going to be game to game probably, you know, but try to find that that world where, you know, everybody's most effective.
Was it something that he improved on that led to his increased role, or was it really more from the coaching game plan
Say
side?
again, please.
Was it something that Keaton did that earned him an increased role, or was it more from the game planning side?
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit of both, but probably more Keaton. You know, just watching him throughout the course of the season, you could, you know, he's been working hard, but he was coming back, hadn't played a lot last year, and I think he kind of was getting his sea legs back as a football player. You know, offensively and on special teams, both. And he made a big impact on special teams yesterday, twice as a gunner. I don't know if you noticed, but he had one play on the left sideline where he got down there right away, and then he had one where he got tackled and backed him up to the inside the 7-yard line, which was huge for us because it backed him up on that last drive. And then McCarthy got the big scramble, but it only got him out to like the 35-yard line because of that. That was a massive play, kind of hidden yardage play by Keaton. But even as a running back, I think he's really starting to, in the last, not just now, but in the last probably 4 weeks, 5 weeks, you could really starting to see him come alive.
John, Nate Wiggins said after the game that he again went to the coaches and said he'd like to shout out Justin Jefferson. How much do you appreciate that when a young corner wants that assignment, shows that confidence, and how important do you think that level of confidence is when you're a young corner trying to learn how to play one of the toughest positions in the league?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, heck yeah, you appreciate it and it's important, and you expect anybody, you know, corner. I mean, if you want to be a cover corner, you better want to cover them all, you know, and believe in yourself and appreciate about, you know, he's not the only corner on the defense that feels that way. You know, they all do. Every one of them feels that way, and they're all talented. We've got a bunch of good cover corners. You know, I thought our secondary played great. I thought our defensive line covered really well. Batted a bunch of balls down. That was great to see. We had a bunch of defended passes. I was told it was the 4th most in franchise history, passes broken up in a game. So everybody played a role in that. But no, I think all those guys are covering great. Nate. And yet Nate, if I'm, you know, since we're talking about Nate, and he's bragging about how he should be covered, everybody, you know, Nate knows he can play better too. I promise you, he knows he could play after play. He can play even better and more dominant than he is, locking in from one play to the next. And all the guys, the thing I love about our guys is that's the approach they take, you know, and try to improve and get better all the time.
John, only 2 for 5 in the red zone yesterday. What has to happen for you guys to be more consistent there?
Yeah, that was disappointing. You know, great field position. Appreciate the 2 touchdowns. You know, we got them kind of late, a little later there after the 3 we didn't get. But we need to be scoring touchdowns down there, and we're good enough to do it. It's a combination probably of got to keep putting our guys in the best position we can with, you know, great plays and creative things to do. You got to run the ball in the red zone. That's really important. And then you got to do things right down there and find a way to get open. Like we executed a really good play to bait, you know, on the 2-pointer. That was a nice little scheme against what they were doing, and it was executed well. So it kind of goes to, you know, come up with the good plays down there because it's tight quarters, and then execute them really well. Takes time and practice, get them oiled up. we can be better down there across the board.
John, on that, related to that, you had the play where it looks to be a tush-push lineup, then Mark Andrews gets in, it's a toss to Jackson. Without getting any state secrets here, how does a play like that come about?
That's state secrets. It's a very creative play. I give the coaching staff credit, Todd and the guys, just all the credit in the world for that, for coming up with that idea. But that was one we've been working on for a while, and trying to get that kind of honed up. And I don't know that anybody's really done that before that I'd noticed. And so we had to kind of work through the kinks in practice. And then the other one was the quarterback sweep, to the left was a check with me type play that we had been working on for a few weeks. So now that those have been run, maybe they'll show up again in some form, or some other thing we have to come up with. Those are the things that win games for you.
Lamar's one hand grab on the toss. It was a high toss.
I thought it was a great catch. Yeah, it was a great catch. I did gulp for 1 second. I was very thankful that Lamar was the guy catching it. He's got great hands. So yeah, and he didn't even miss stride. Just pulled it right in like it was nothing.
John, obviously your roster was healthy yesterday going into the game. One thing that stood out on the inactive list, Carson Vincent was up.
Who's that?
Carson Vincent.
Yeah.
He was active. I know he only played a little bit on special teams. What are you seeing from him in terms of his development, and kind of what goes into that decision to have him up, and you had no room inactive?
Yeah, it was kind of just an opportunity. I think he had probably gotten to the point where he was on the same par with Joe in some ways. I mean, they're different because you've got a veteran guy, then you got a young guy. So Joe's more, has more understanding. So Joe, scheme-wise, and Joe's going to know what to do, and Joe's a heck of an athlete. Then you got this young, talented, big, rangy guy that you want to kind of give an opportunity to and see how he can do, but not until he's somewhat ready. You can't put him out there until he's ready. He really hadn't been ready up until the last week or two, probably 2 weeks. We felt like he was back, he was in the conversation, and then we just decided to do it, see if he could handle field goal protection, and then if, he would have had to be the backup if something happened.
Likewise with Carl Lawson yesterday not getting elevated, was that just a numbers / situational thing, more than maybe even still coming up to speed on defense, or?
Yeah, it's the first part.
Okay.
I mean, just what you do is you look at the group and you say, where are the reps? It was just we didn't have the reps, to have him up, and we needed the reps more in the D line, because that's just the way the numbers worked. So I definitely want to get him up, and I kind of talked about that last week. He's ready to roll.
John, what was the discussion like before that last play on your last offensive drive, whether to throw it, whether to run it? It was after the 2-minute warning.
The bootleg?
Yeah, the bootleg, staying aggressive or trying to run clock. What was kind of that?
That was pretty much the discussion. We wanted to get it. That was really the thing. What gives us the best chance to get it? And it's a run, it's a movement pass, probably, or it's a, you can do a quarterback-driven run if you wanted to. We didn't really want to go there. Bootleg, we thought, was a good movement for Lamar to get out and make something happen. Or a drop-back pass, which was inviting a bunch of pressure. And what we didn't want to do was I didn't want to be sitting in the pocket with a blitz or some crazy thing happen to us with we ended up getting a batted ball. But I didn't want a batted ball. I didn't want a sack. I didn't want any risky thing. I wanted to get out there where Lamar could make a decision, and he did make a good decision. I mean, that guy wasn't going to intercept that ball there, but the daggone Van Ginkel, man. I mean, that guy is something. He made a bunch of plays on the perimeter, screens and different things. So, didn't work for us. We wanted to keep our offense on the field and keep our defense off the field, and we tried to get the first down.
John, a big story, I guess, yesterday was all the false starts that the Vikings committed. Did you think that, well, I don't know if you saw, but it seemed like the players and the coaches, seemed like they thought that you guys as players were doing things
Did they? Did you read all the quotes?
I mean, it said, I'm reading them.
Did you read the head coach's quote?
I didn't see the head I see some from Aaron Jones.
Or all the other players? One of the players said that. And then pretty much, I don't know, I think I read it like five other players, and the head coach said no. But I can tell you, it did catch my attention, yes. And so I went back and I watched it. And because we didn't have a game plan for that. If we did, I would have been happy. But we're not going to do anything illegal. You know, if you stem, you make a move call, which is what you do. You're allowed to say move. You're not allowed to say set or hut or anything else, or cadence, which we never have done. But then I watched all of them, and none of them did we stem. Not one did we move. Numerous times we were even kind of like going like this when they jumped because of the cadence that they were giving. They were doing a lot of cadence. They were doing a lot of on two, trying to draw us off sides. And then they were doing some shifts where they could uncover man zone and try to see what we were in. And they jumped a few times when they were doing that to try to get to their alerts and their change of plays. So you had, you know, like Coach O'Connell said, it wasn't anything we were doing.
John, also with, you know, since you got Gilman, you put Hamilton a little bit closer to the line, moving around like that. What makes him so good to be, you know, create so much havoc and unpredictability when he's so close to that line?
Good genes, I think, probably. Good genes. He's talented. But, you know, the other thing is he really, you know, you just got to, versatility is not just talent, you know, it's also understanding the game and also study, you know. I mean, he's got to know a lot. There's a lot he has to know and process and understand about the game plan and stuff. And I just think he kind of knows the whole defense. You know, he probably can line up in any position. We'll keep him away from nose guard. How about that? You can play all the other ones. But he's special that way.
There's a lot more football left, but how much of a statement is it that this team's been able to come back, win 3 in a row, and now be in a situation where they're just one game behind the Steelers?
Right. I think the statement remains to be stated. You know, that's what it kind of means. Is like we have a long way to go. You know, and that's where our guys are at.
Text to Jim. Thanks for the help.
Yeah, I did. I sure did. Absolutely. Sent him numerous, more good luck texts than usual, you know, surprisingly. And I was very pleased with the outcome. Yeah.
John, is Marlon's finger, he talked a little bit about it. He said he's never experienced anything like it. Something you guys are just going to have to manage, or could he need some time away?
Yeah, he might need to get something done to tighten it up, which would be he could play right away, maybe the week, or it may take a week to get him back from that if he does decide to do a surgery. But it would be only a week at the most, what I was told. I don't know. I guess you could, when you say a week, then I'm thinking maybe 2, but maybe none. So if he decides to play with it and keep it wrapped up, then he could play in this game. So that's where he's at right now.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, John.